Okay, I'm going to talk through this one. And the reason for that, I went to the whiteboard a few times. We're in problem number 5 now. And they say that, the long division, they write the long division down for you. And I'm just going to talk through it. All right. As I talk through it, hopefully you understand what you're doing over here. And I want to point out what you're doing is you're taking this fifth degree polynomial and dividing it by this cubic polynomial. So I'd say the first thing to do is just write that down as a long division problem. All right, so I'm writing that down. And by the way, make sure you write it down correctly. And someone says, why are you using the letter X? I don't know, maybe it's a crutch, but I'll be honest with you, maybe I did a mistake there. Let me just go backwards. For me to keep writing the N down, I actually find it easier to write the letter X down. And I find no issues with the letter X, and that's why I'm using the letter X. So I'm gonna say I did make that substitution just to make it easier for me. And the reason for that, my penmanship is pretty bad. Let me erase this over here. So yes, I did use the letter X. So that would be the first step. And by the way, the other things you need to make sure of, and I want to emphasize what I mean by that, they should be written in proper order. And the order for division, as you were taught in grade school, was you start with the biggest and go to the smallest. All right, what I mean, numbers would be written, like for example, you would not, if you had like 1,007, believe it or not, you'd be starting here. You wouldn't be starting here to do division. Now, could you? Of course you could. You could jumble them around, but you weren't taught that way. So I'm going to say having them in descending order of power would be a good idea. Now, the next thing I want to do is, once I have that written down, and I'm sure I write it down, is I look for the multiplication process. And I tell you what I mean by that. What times 2x cubed would give you 6x5, and I would say that's 3x squared. Now, I realized, variances and the way people write things down is fine. But what I've noticed is by observing other students write their work down, that what they do is they automatically write the subtraction when they do it. But what I plan is that 3x squared times 2x cubed is 6x to the 5. But a lot of students, what they write down immediately that they're going to subtract it. Now, the problem now, they have to distribute that 3x squared across the other terms. So what's the next term going to be? 15x4, but they know they're going to subtract it. What's the next term going to be? 3x squared times minus 8x, which is minus 24x cubed, but they're going to subtract it. So it's going to be plus 24x cubed. Then 3x squared times minus 7 is minus 21x squared, but they're going to subtract it, which means it's plus 21x squared. Now, of course, what do they do now? They combine things together, and what do they get? And let's make sure you understand what I'm talking about over here. They're going to get something. What do they get? Well, 25 minus 15 is 10. Minus 7 plus 24 is 17. So we have a nice column arithmetic over here. Oh, minus 81 and 61 is minus 60. And then what I would recommend to do is to drop all the places down. Now, when I typeset the work, I don't do that. But I'm going to put it down here for you, plus 28. I like to drop it down because I forget things down. And now the problem comes is, what are you going to do now? Well, you need to find a multiple of this. Let me get my highlighter out. Sorry about that. You need a multiple of this that would match this. And that's going to be 5x. 5x times 2x cubed is going to be 10x4. But again, what a lot of students do is they say they're going to subtract it. They actually write it down. And then 5x times 5x squared is 25x cubed. They subtract it. 5x times minus 8x is minus 40x. They're going to subtract it. So 40x squared plus 40x squared. And then 5x times minus 7 is minus 35x. They're going to subtract it. So plus 35x. And then what do they get? Fairly simple, by the way. Combining like terms over here. And this is going to be minus 8x cubed. This is going to be minus 20x squared. This will be 32x. And again, I'm dropping the place down 28. And then they repeat. And they keep doing this until they get to the edge. All right? So I'll do this over here. Minus 4 times this thing over here is going to give you minus 8x cubed, which is a match. But we're going to subtract that, so minus a minus is a plus. Then what do you do? Minus 4 times 5 is minus 20x squared. We're going to subtract it, so plus 20x squared. Minus 4 times minus 8, minus 32. But we're going to subtract it, so minus 4 times minus plus 32. We're going to subtract it, minus 32. Minus 4 times minus 7 is minus 28. We're going to subtract it, minus 28. Lo and behold, what do you get? Term by term, 0, 0, 0, 0. The remainder is 0. This is really good news. But listen, do not forget that we made a substitution. And that substitution was we replaced the n with the x. So what's the answer going to be? Not 3x squared, but it's 3n squared plus 5n minus 4. Now someone says, could you check it? You can. How do you check it? You would take this and multiply it by this, and it better give you this. All right? Am I going to check it? No, I'm not going to check it. All right? By the way, an alternative method's listed over here for you. This is something that I do see some students do. If you're doing that, the alternative method's written down for you. And I do that on occasions, by the way. I type that up, the alternative method for you. All right? Thank you for paying attention. Again, for students that need to reach out to me, I know on occasion I tell you my name. It's Ron Bannon. And my email address is Bannon. That's B as in boy, the @ symbol, NNON.US. All right? Thank you so much for paying attention. I appreciate it.